So today I'm going to be reviewing this. Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. This movie came out quite a few years ago, so there will be plenty of spoilers. Though technically, if a movie's been out for more than a decade, it no longer counts as a spoiler. I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, you weren't planning to see it. So Spirit is one of my top 3 favorite movies all time, and my top 3 favorite movies of all time are each from different studios, but they all have so many things in common, because my top 3 favorite movies of all time are, in no particular order, Spirit, Lion King, and Pokemon, the first movie. And they've got a few good things in common. They've got good life lessons, they've got amazing music, and the biggest thing they'll have in common is that I can fall asleep to them. The reason that that's a good thing is because with these 3 movies, I don't ever feel like I'm missing anything if I do fall asleep, because I've got the entire thing memorized by heart. I've got all these movies just committed in my head, and I can basically recite every single line from beginning to end. And I do have every single song memorized.
They say the history of the West was written from the saddle of a horse, but it's never been told from the heart of one. Not till now. I was born here, in this place that would come to be called the Old West. But to my kind, the land was ageless. It had no beginning and no end, no boundary between earth and sky. Like the wind in the buffalo grass, we belonged here. We would always belong here. They say the Mustang is the spirit of the West. Whether that West was won or lost in the end, you'll have to decide for yourself. But the story I want to tell you is true. I was there, and I remember. I remember the sun and the sky and the wind calling my name in a time when wild horses ran free.
This is a story about a horse, and the gist of it is this horse gets kidnapped, and it's a very long journey for him to try and find his way back home. And he goes through a lot of shit. People are chasing after him. They keep trying to ride him, which he's not okay with. Then they start shooting at him, and then they tie him to a train, which explodes. And then he jumps over the Grand Canyon. I feel like the best way to describe this is a story of perseverance. I mean, he goes through so much shit just to find his way back home where he was in the first place before they kidnapped him. This is also a story about how the white man fucks everyone over. I'm not going to waste time beating around the bush. My favorite thing about it is the music. The music was written by Bryan Adams, and the soundtrack really tells the story. I mean, there's narration from the horse. There's dialogue between some of the men in the story, and it's not a silent film by any means, but the music really tells the story. It tells you what mood you're supposed to be in for these scenes, and it really matches the pictures that we see.
Now I can't go on. I can't even start. I got nothing left, just an empty heart. I'm a soldier, wounded so I must give up the fight. There's nothing more for me, lead me away.
For me personally, this is the best thing that's ever come out of DreamWorks. And I would recommend anyone to see it if they got the chance. I feel like it's just a great story for all ages. It doesn't have it's got cute animals, but it doesn't have the whole bullshit kitty, oh, they can talk like humans and they've got beepers. It is a very realistic story. It's very well drawn, beautifully colored. I really just can't say enough good things about this movie. It's a story of a young horse who grows up to be the leader of his herd, and he's pretty badass to begin with. But then, unfortunately, he finds out that not only does curiosity kill the cat, it got the horse kidnapped. Apparently, there was this whole nursery rhyme. We just never got past that first line. So he fights as hard as he can to escape, but they just keep chasing him, and he gets captured.
Thought you got away, didn't you, Mustang?
So he gets captured and taken to an army base where they try to domesticate him, but they just can't do it. He's a wild stallion. He's just not gonna let them break him.
Yeah, get off of my back and into my game. Get out of my way, some wild and untamed. Get out of my face, give it your best shot. I think it's time you better face the fact. Get off of my back, get off of my back. Get off of my back.
So then, working together with a young Native American who was also held captive, the two of them escape and they go back to his tribe where Spirit is once again held captive. And they once again try to domesticate him, but eventually he realizes, yeah, it's not gonna happen, and he gives up and lets him go. But Spirit had already fallen in love with another horse, and she didn't want to leave. She was scared. This was her family. But before she gets a chance to make the choice, the village gets attacked. She gets shot. They go over a waterfall, and Spirit is once again captured, and and he's put on a train and sent somewhere, and now he's working to helping build the railroad. But then he decides, fuck you bitches, and he blows a train up. And then they get chased by the army guys again, and then he jumps over a Grand Canyon. And then the army guys are like, ah, fuck this shit. I just think overall this movie is very beautifully done. It is a masterpiece of cinematography released back in 2002. So if you've honestly never seen it by now, what the fuck is wrong with you? And also, even if you have seen it, go check it out again. You might find you'll love it.